there, this is Tiff and welcome to the Tiffany Micah podcast. What we do here is we solve your problems so that you're out there working on achieving your big dreams and big goals. So when you listen to these episodes, if you can do me a favor, take a screenshot of the episode that you're actually listening to, share it on social media and share it with your friends with hashtag #PotentialWithTiff, so that I can give you a shout out and really thank you for listening, because I'd really appreciate it. Hey there, this is Tiff from Tiffany Micah podcast and welcome to the Halftime series. This is actually part one of a 4-part series. In what we're actually going to be looking at is, hey, 6 months have gone by. We're in the halftime, as if we were playing a game. We're at the end of June, early July. It's time to actually really reassess and really look back at what's happened in the last 6 months, because we need to know that if we want to go where we want to go, we've also got to look back and evaluate where we've been and come from, and also, okay, here we are, we've got to reassess and see where we want to go as well. So this will be quite detailed today, but we're going to do this to really check where we're at, and we're really going to evaluate. This is the first part of that, as we're going to evaluate where we stand. Now, this is actually not about resetting goals right now. This is the most critical element, is that when you get to halftime in a game, it's really important to identify or become aware of where you're at. So what are the things that we're going to look at when we get at halftime in a game? What do we look at? We look at the score, don't we? We look at the result. Now, we should judge our whole performance on the score. Do you think that's correct? Absolutely not. The score will actually indicate how we're performing from like an end result view, as it's game day, right? So because we're now here in half time, where, you know, if you play soccer, we're at the halftime point. If you play something like golf, where something like we've just completed the front 9 of the course. If we've tennis, it's, you know, it's after the first set or possibly the second set. We're reevaluating. But what we want to do is we just want to call it halftime. And remember, when we look at halftime in a game, everybody just looks straight at the result. I know, like with my niece's soccer team that I'm working on coaching with and so on, the one particular parent and, you know, a lot of the kids just look at the score, and that's fine. You can look at the score, but that actually doesn't indicate your whole performance. My questions are always to the kids. Okay, what are you noticing? What's working? What's not working? What are the other team doing really well? So that you're learning from that, right? So that's what we need to make sure that what we're doing over this particular series, like part 1 especially, is we're actually going to be at halftime. Doesn't mean that the game is over. Just means that we're checking in, we're having a breather, and we're reassessing. So this is what we're going to do in this episode. We're actually going to, like I said, take a breather and reassess. And in order for us to go to where we want to go, we also have to check where we've come from to ensure that we're doing what will lead us to where we want to go. If you've heard my lessons learned, I've actually just done in a previous episode lessons learned halftime 2019, and that's actually where I've looked back and looked at most important lessons that I've learned that hopefully will help you as well, and that you'll get a lot of value out of that. But again, it's stopping at that halfway point and looking back and going, okay, what have we done? So today we're going to evaluate your last 6 months, check in, see where you're at. Then we're going to work on what you can do to move forward in the direction to where you want to go. Okay, so This is the first part. So what we're going to do in this first part is we're going to evaluate your life. So before we begin to look at your actual sport, the first thing we want to do is we want to check in with life, okay? Because you are a person, you're a human being, and there are other things that go on outside your sport. And if you're anything like I was, and what I still love to be, is that sports person who lives and breathes their sport, and there's nothing wrong with that. I encourage that for you to do that immensely. But we also need to understand that we are a human, and there is life outside of what we do in a sports realm. So we need to make sure and see where we're at, and we're happy with where we're at in our lives, because if we're happy with where we're at in our lives, that's also going to help us in our sport. Okay, so these are the categories we're actually going to be looking at today. 1 is health, 2 is emotional health, 3 is mental health, 4 is family, 5 is partner or friends, 6 is lifestyle, 7 is energy health, 8 is finances, 9 is growth, and 10 is self-care. Okay, so those are the 10 categories that we're actually going to be looking at. Now, what I want you to do when we're looking at these areas or categories in our life, just for evaluation purposes, what we want to do is we want to give them a ranking, okay? So we're going to give them a ranking between 1 and 5. Now, ranking 1, or rate it as number 1, means that it's awful. You're just not happy with where it's at all, right? It's at the bottom. You know, it's rock bottom. It's nothing what you want it to be. But 5 is incredible. So you could be number 1, you could be 5, or you could be in between somewhere, okay? So with your health, I want you to ask yourself the question, and I'm going to ask you this question, is how would you rate your health level between 1 and 5? Is it awful at 1, or is it incredible at 5, or is it in between, okay? And then what I want you to do is, once you've identified what that rate number is that you've given it, I want you to then ask the question, why did I rate it at this number? And there's 2 questions for that. That's why I'm posing this to you. Is 1 is what worked and what didn't. Okay? So you could be at awful at number 1, going, I just eat too much junk food. I'm really sluggish throughout the day. I can't focus very well. All of that kind of thing. Or 5, or, up to 5, and you're feeling incredible. You've got lots of energy. You're fit and strong. You're feeling really good about your body. You're feeling really healthy within. What you need to be looking at is what worked, why it worked, what didn't work, and why it didn't work. Okay? So rate your health between 1 and 5. Then we're going to do the same thing through the rest. Okay? So number 2, emotional health. So I want you to rate it between 1 and 5. So remember, 1 is awful, 5 is incredible. And I want you to ask that question again. Why did I rate it at this number? Why is it at number 1, or why is it number 5, or why is it number 4? What worked and what didn't work? Okay? You can also ask the question is, are you in control of your emotions? Do you stay calm when situations arise for you? Or are you anxious, impatient, and so on? Right? We want to just start asking these questions, okay? Because we want to be really starting to think about where we're at. Number 3, mental health. So again, we want to rate it between 1 and 5. So remember, 1 is awful, 5 is incredible. And again, ask yourself this question. Why did I rate it this number? What worked and what didn't? Okay, so were you focused? Were you easily distracted? Or were you calm? Were you in the moment? Are you able to perform under pressure? All those types of things I want you to be thinking about, what worked and what didn't. Okay, just list them. We're not going to do anything with them right now because that'll come later. Number 4, your family, your relationships with your family. How would you rate it? Is it 1, or as in awful, or 5 as in incredible, or somewhere in between? Again, ask the question, why did I rate this number? What works and what didn't work? Okay, so we're constantly asking the same question, but we're going through each category. It's really, and like I say, it's really important to check in, see what's going on. Number 5, partner or friends. You may have a partner in your life, it may be just friends. Doesn't matter, we've put that in the same category. If you have both, then rate both, okay? So remember, number 1, awful. Number 5, incredible. Ask yourself the question, why did I rate it this number? What worked and what didn't work? Number 6, lifestyle. So lifestyle, you could think about things like adventure and experiences, doing the things that you love to do outside of your sport. I want you to be thinking of outside the sport, okay? I know that you love to do your sport because that's why you listen to what I share with you, but I want you to be looking at outside your sport. What are the other areas that give you the lifestyle and the excitement that you want in your life? So again, rate it between 1 and 5, 1 being awful, 5 being incredible, and then you ask yourself this question again, why did I rate this number? What worked and what didn't work? Number 7, energy health. Energy health is so important because for you to do what you want to be able to do in your sport and also manage your life, you want to be able to have like incredible, boundless energy, right? You want to be eager. You want to be bursting out of your skin with excitement. So again, I want you to rate it between 1 and 5. 1, remember, is awful. 5 is incredible, or somewhere there in between. And then ask yourself the question, why did I rate this number? What worked and what didn't work? Okay? If you're lethargic and you're slow and you're low, there's things going on there, right? Now, it could be an effect of the type of food you eat. It could be how you're feeling emotionally or mentally. It could be by what's going on in your family or friends, or partner, or lifestyle. There's a lot of things that contribute to that. So we need to actually have a look at our energy health, what's going on there. Number 8, finances. I like to call it your treasure. So the thing is, again, I want you to rate this number between 1 and 5, awful or incredible or somewhere there in between, and then ask yourself the question, why did I rate it at this number? What is working, what is not working? Okay? Are you growing your finances? Are you increasing your income? Are you saving money, right? Or are you doing the complete opposite, not generating any income, not saving any money, right? You need to be asking yourselves these questions. Number 9, growth. Now, growth, I consider it's all about learning, okay? So again, are you in a process of what you're doing are you learning and growing and improving you as a person? Because if you improve you as a person, that's also going to help you with every area of your life and also with your sport. So I want you to rate it 1, awful, 5, incredible, one of those or somewhere in between, and then ask yourself that question again, why did I rate it at this number? What worked and what didn't work? And number 10 is self-care. And what I talk about self-care is really the rest and recovery, really looking after yourself. Because a lot of what we do these days, we've got a high demand for everything and a high intensity for everything in the age in which we're living right now, and everything wants to be quick and let's get on with it and burn, and it's almost like we burn the candle from both ends. So what we need to make sure is we're also aware that we rest and recover. I have to make sure that I do that every week. I have to make sure that, especially Saturday afternoons, if I'm not working, I take some downtime and I go and do yoga, or I go and do a long stretch and have a nice easy night. And the same Friday afternoons, I like to have wind down and not do a lot from a mental point of view. Physical, that's not a problem, but I need to have that mental break. And especially on Sundays after lunchtime, it's complete break, like from everything that I do. because I need that recovery time. I need that resting time because my brain is incredibly active, so I want to make sure that I give it that time to recover. So we need to make sure that we're positioning ourselves that we've got all areas of our life working, don't we? So again, with self-care, I want you to be looking at how would you rate it? 1, awful. 5, incredible. And then why did you rate that number? And then what worked and what didn't work. Okay, so it's incredibly important. It's not only what we're doing, the other thing is what we need to make sure that we're actually looking at everything that's going on. Okay, so what I want you to do now is now that you have rated each category, I want you to add them up. And when you add them up, you can get a score out of 50. So if you've scored 50, congratulations, and you're absolutely awesome. However, I don't want you to stop there. I want you to be looking at, okay, how can I make things even better? How can I get to that next level? Okay? Because it's always about getting that edge, getting that next level. But if you haven't scored 50 out of 50, it doesn't matter. It's all right. Because the thing is that you're still awesome in my eyes because you are willing to take the time and track and identify. You're really wanting to create that awareness. Okay, you're there about wanting to improve yourself. And there's so many people out there that are just not aware of life, right? They're just not aware of things going around them. They tend to operate in a zombie state, like an automated state, and they just try to get through the day. They just go through the motions. They live for the weekend. They hate where they're at. They hate what they're doing, and they'll complain about it too, but they'll never do anything to change it. And the difference between them and you is that you are doing the most important step. You are creating that awareness. And when we move into your sport, we're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to be creating that awareness. So now what we've done is we've discovered where we're at in our life, okay? But this is not just, we've had a look at, okay, we've evaluated, here is where we're at. We've got to take it a step further, haven't we? So now what we want to do is we want to brainstorm, okay? We want to do a think up or a think tank. We want to be really thinking about what it is that we know where we're at, but we want to look to where we want to go. I don't want you to be putting plans in place yet. I just want you to be thinking, and I want you to be writing out what we're going to do in the next 6 months, okay? So let's go back to your life category. So you've done all the ratings for them. You've scored yourself out of 50, and you've looked at each individual category, okay? So let's go back into those categories. And what we want to do is we're going to ask ourselves 2 questions in these categories, okay? So the 2 questions will be, what do I want to be true by the 31st of December 2019? And number 2 is, how will I do that? And then we're going to list the detail, okay? So let's look at category number 1, your health. What do you want to be true by the 31st of December 2019? Right? And so what you want to do is you want to write out what you want to be true, what you've achieved. It's really the outcome, right? What is the actual goal? So it's a good way to ask. I like this question. I got this from a mentor that I listened to. What do I want to be true by the 31st of December 2019? And then you list everything that you want to be true about your health. And then number 2 is, how will I do that? And what you want to do is you just list all the things that you need to do in order for that to happen. Okay? All we're doing is we're just brainstorming. We're getting everything out of our head onto paper. Okay? Because this is when we can start making it reality, is getting it out of the head and onto paper, because then we can create a plan for that. Okay, so number 2 is emotions. So the same thing, what we want to do is we want to ask that question is, what do I want to be true by the 31st of December 2019? And number 2, how will I do that? And then we're going to list down the detail, right? So if you want to be in control of your emotions, you want to be calm, you want to be unflushed, you want to be poised, you want to be able to have that patience, you want to just do what you need to do and stay emotionally in control, then that's what you want to state that you want to be true. Then write down how you're actually going to do that. You want to make sure that you're listing the detail. Number 3, mental health. Okay, same questions. What do I want to be true by 31st of December 2019? And number 2, how will I do that? And again, list the detail. So with your mental health, and this can be you'll find that some of these questions may overlap into your sport as well. And that's fine, because how you are in one thing is how you are in everything. So even with the mental side of who you are, and also in your sport, if you want to be focused and feeling in control and being in the zone so that you're competing at the best that you can possibly be, and having that complete awareness, write all that down, but then list down how you're actually going to do that, because that's how we're going to create the plan. Number 4, your family. So ask the same questions. What do I want to be true by the 31st of December 2019? And number 2, how will I do that? So what kind of relationships do you want to have with your family? Start thinking about that. And then how will you be able to do that? Number 5, partner and friends. So again, we're asking the question, what do I want to be true by the 31st of December 2019? And number 2, how will I do that? And then you list the detail. So what kind of relationships do you want to have with your partner and your friends? Do you want to have a partner in your life if you don't have one? How would you do that? If you want more friends in your life, how would you do that? Or how are you going to build a bigger and stronger bond with the friends that you currently have, right? Look at that. Look at how you're going to do that. List the detail. Number 6, lifestyle. Again, we ask the question, what do I want to be true by the 31st of December 2019? And number 2, how will I do that? Again, we list the detail. So what is it that you want to create? Do you want to have adventures and trips and do random stuff? List it out, what you want to be true, and then write down all the things that you want. You may not be able to do them all in the next 6 months, but at least we're getting them out of your head, okay, onto paper. Number 7, your energy health. Again, what do I want to be true by the 31st of December 2019? And then how will I do that? Again, we've got to list the detail. What do you want your energy levels to be at? How would you describe them to be at, right? Buzzing. So full of energy that you can just be so efficient and get so much done throughout the day. Wake up eager to get to the gym, can't wait to do training, bursting out of your skin, high on life, everything, right? List down everything that you want to be true and then write down how you're going to do that. Number 8, your treasure or your finances. What do I want to be true by the 31st of December 2019? And number 2, how will I do that? List the detail. What kind of money do you want to have earned by then? How much money would you have liked to have saved by then? Then list how are you going to do that. Number 9, growth. So that's all that learning, isn't it? And improving you. 1, what do I want to be true by the 31st of December 2019? And 2, how will I do that? So we're going to list that detail. So I want you to be looking at is what type of growth do you want to see in you? What have you learned? Right? What have you learned? And then list down all the things that you want to learn. And then list down all the things that how you're going to do that. And number 10, self-care. What do I want to be true by the 31st of December 2019? And number 2, how will I do that? So that's what we've got to be looking at is how are you going to be looking after yourself? What kind of rest and recovery periods are you going to give yourself? What kind of, you might want to give yourself a trip away somewhere. Or you might want to do that once a quarter or once a month and have some time out doing something else or have a holiday. looking at the self-care, how are you actually going to be looking after yourself? It's just as important, okay? So there is so much detail here. And I'll tell you what, most people won't take the time to look at these areas of their life because all they want to do is just work on goals and work on achievement, and that's it. But the thing is for you to really get what you want to do, and if you're a high performer, this is what high performers do. They look at every area of their life. This is your life, and I want you to be as happy as you want to be. I want you to be as happy as you want to be within. And I want you to be able to create the person that you want to become. Not just a sports person that you want to become, the person that you want to become. So like I said, there's a lot of detail here. This is just part 1, and we're actually just looking at your life for this particular one, because if I give you life and then sport in one big episode, there's just too much information there. So I want to break it down, make it simple for you. So let's look at your life categories first, so that I want to ensure that you're really going to work on getting that enjoyment out of your life, and also evaluating where you're at in your life and also where you want to go with your life, okay? And then in the next episode coming up, we're going to do the same thing with your sport as well. We're going to look at your sports categories, and so that you're, again, working to where you want to go. But remember, we need to make sure that we've got our life in order in order for us to compete at the level we want to compete in our sport. Okay, we want every area in our life working. We want to be that high performer, not just one area in our life coming together. So I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure you do all of these categories in your life and rate them, and really look back at the last 6 months. Remember, we're at halftime. This is a really good time to stop and evaluate, and then we can then set our goals and move forward. That will be coming up in the next few episodes. So remember that the following episode from this one will actually be, we'll be looking at your sport categories and evaluating where you are at. And then we're going to be moving forward into how we're going to do that. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this episode. Like I said, love it if you could share me a comment with what you like best about what you heard today. If you've got friends that you know that would benefit from these episodes, I'd really appreciate it too if you could share these with your friends. And also, if you've just got 30 seconds to spare, I'd really appreciate a 5-star review wherever you hear these episodes. So I want you to dream big, believe in you, go after your dreams, get to work, and I will talk to you on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening today. If you have any questions about the frustrations that you're actually going through right now, come over and visit my site, tiffany-mika.com, and you will see on the home page I've set up Ask Tiff. Now what Ask Tiff is this is where you can ask me a question, and I will record an episode for you on how to solve that frustration or those frustrations you're actually going through, so that we can get the problem solved for you, so that you're actually out there achieving your big dreams and goals. So if you want me to mention your name in the episode, happy to do so. If you don't, I can keep it anonymous. It's fine by me. But make sure you go over and go to the Ask Tiff on the homepage of my website. If you've just got 30 seconds to spare, I'd also appreciate if you could leave a 5-star review wherever you hear these episodes. And remember, take a screenshot, add the hashtag #potentialwithtiff so that I can give you a shout out for sharing these episodes on social media. I'd really appreciate it. And remember this, always, always, always dream big, believe in you, and go after your dreams.